Welcome to the Coach's Sons podcast. My name is Andrew.
I'm Chris.
This episode is brought to you by our partners at Chinook Seedery. If you're watching on video, we're both holding up different types of things that have their logo on them. Guys, these are the best sunflower seeds in the game. If you're looking for something to chew on while you're playing ball, playing golf, just hanging around outside, Chinook Seedery is the place to go. You can use our code Coach's Sons Pod. That's all one word, Coach's Sons Pod, at checkout and get a discount. So thank you guys so much. Chris, it's offseason. There are deals happening everywhere. Most of them are the Yankees. But before we get into all that, we lost one of the biggest names in baseball because he was very good at one of my favorite things, stealing bases. Rest in peace, Ricky Henderson. 65 years old. Got word this week that he has passed. So that's a loss to the baseball community. He was a character, super talented, and not something you want to hear, towards the Christmas season. So thoughts go out to him and his family.
Yeah, very sad. Condolences again to the family, to the baseball world. A lot of his teammates, and he sure as hell had a lot of them. A lot of his teammates, spoke out, reminiscing of their particular story of Ricky. It's very sad. Young at
Yes.
65, but you had said it before. Just a character in and of himself. Just a man who always brought a show, right? He was the star of his own show, right? And he made sure you were aware of it. You knew about Ricky from Ricky. You smile, in this time of sadness of, discussing him, but man, he was truly one of a kind. There wasn't anybody like him. You hear a lot of guys talking and not backing it up, but if there was anybody better than Ricky Henderson at talking the talk and walking the walk, I would like to meet them, because I don't think there was anybody that backed up all of the things that they said more than Ricky Henderson did.
No, I completely agree. And obviously getting the word about this week, you kind of go down the rabbit hole of like seeing all these different types of quotes and interviews. And I think one of my favorite ones is a reporter back in the day asked him, if Ken Caminiti's estimate of 50% of major league players were taking steroids was accurate, right? So he's like, hey, Ricky, this is what people are saying. Do you think that's accurate? And his response was, well, Ricky's not one of them, so that's 49% right there. So, like, the dude was just, like, I mean, there's so many great stories. He was actually Nolan Ryan's 5,000th strikeout. And then when he was asked about it, he's like, he gave me no chance. Ryan just blew it by me, but it's an honor. I'll have another paragraph in all the baseball books. I'm already in there like 3 or 4 times. You know what I mean? So like those are my 2 favorite ones that stuck out. But I mean, he was a character. I didn't get to watch him much. Obviously, he was like towards the end of like his career came to an end while we, like you and I, probably started watching baseball. But those type of stories are going to be around forever.
He was the man in his own world, right?
Yeah.
He taught, he referred to himself as the third person,
Yep.
right? Again, you hear the stories, the John Olerud story. He goes to John Olerud telling him, hey, I used to play with the guy back in the day that wore a helmet playing first base. And Olerud's like, Ricky, that was me. Right. Right. Like he just,
I love that.
I don't, it's just like, it's just an odd guy, but man, can he play some baseball? Like, the National Baseball Hall of Fame posted this, and we could have sourced it, but he is first all time in stolen bases, in unintentional walks, in runs scored, and leadoff home runs. He has 1,406 stolen bases. That is just, again, simple math. 14
That's
years of
astronomical.
100 steals a year.
Yeah.
And to put that into perspective, 100 steals since 1900 has only happened 8 times, and he
Hmm.
was three of them. He had 130, 108, and 100. Maury Willis had one. Vince Coleman also had three, and Lou Brock had one. So just to say, you could call Ellie De La Cruz, great base stealer, which he is. He's going to have to do that for, I don't know, 20 years
Yep.
to even come close. Runs scored, just an insane. Like when you think of a leadoff hitter and you don't think Kyle Schwarber of what today's game is, you think Ricky Henderson. He is the a leadoff hitter personified. He is the guy who can get you started. He has 81 leadoff home runs in his career. And he's a threat. You put him on base, he gets on base. He is on second at minimum
Hmm.
and probably getting to third. The guy is a menace in every way, shape, or form on the baseball diamond. And again, a hell of a character and a hell of a teammate. When seeing all the stories coming out of Oakland, I think he was a coach there most recently, or would just be around
Hmm. Hmm.
due to his stature in the area. He when he spoke, people listen, right? He a group would gather. They want to hear what he has to say. He has so much wisdom and knowledge, and even if it is one of his Rickyisms, it's still just you're taking in this all time great who man he loves to talk, so you could
Yeah.
always probably learn something from him.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely one of those old guard guys. And it's interesting because he'd be a character even by today's standard, which you've got a lot of the newer, flashier guys that probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Ricky, right? And even those guys can't hold a candle to how flamboyant and garish he was out there on the diamond, and it was just so entertaining. And the baseball world definitely lost a big piece. And so again, way too early. 65 is too young, and so a heart breaks for his family. And we hope that there's some good that comes out of it, whatever that looks like. And it's just a big loss for the baseball community.
Definitely a big loss. Rest in peace, Ricky. And I can truthfully, you say this is a trite, overused expression, but this might be the most truthful instance. There will never be anyone like Ricky Henderson.
Never, no, never. I mean,
he is
yeah,
he is truthfully one of one,
yeah.
and there won't be anyone like him.
I mean, I think we're definitely seeing that happen a decent amount with a lot of different types of baseball players. Nolan Ryan's one of those, right? He's an enigma we won't see again, and Ricky was definitely one of those too. And we'll never see anyone touch 1,400 or 1,000, 14,000.
No, 1,400,
Oh,
14,000.
14.
Come on.
Sorry,
1,400.
1,400. I
1,406.
Yeah, 1,400 stolen bases is absurd.
Quick
So
quick trivia. I didn't know the answer to this. I was asked this by a group of friends today.
ooh, okay.
First, how many teams did Ricky Henderson play for?
So I mean, I want to say one, the A's.
Yeah, no, how many in total?
One, Oakland
You
A's.
think he's only played for one team?
I
You're
don't know
you're
if it, I mean,
okay.
I'm
You're
probably way
you're a
off.
bad person to ask. Because he's played for 9 teams.
Holy crap. Okay, I'm way off then. So,
Because my next question is going to be, what teams did he
okay,
play for?
hold
I
on. I'm
was
trying to
able to
think.
name 6 of them.
Did he play for the Indians?
No.
Okay, then I don't know. I'm way off base then. Who
I,
all
I
did he
was
play
able
for?
I was able to name 6 of them. 3 of them I was unaware of. But in order of, well, he played on a lot of teams for a year, but most to least: Oakland 14 years, or Athletics;
Okay.
Yankees 5 years; Padres 3 years; Mets 2 years; the Seattle Mariners 1 year; Boston Red Sox 1 year; Toronto Blue Jays 1 year; uh, Anaheim Angels 1 year; and Dodgers 1 year.
Got none of that. I don't remember any of that.
Now, some of those were for 44, 32, and 30 games respectively at the end,
Yeah.
games in total. However, 9 teams,
Okay.
over
But
25 seasons.
I mean, that's impressive. I had only one team, so obviously I'm a bad
Yeah, you were
example.
you were
Yeah.
a bad
Did he
person to
did
ask
he
that.
did he just start with the A's and then everything else was after, or was it the other way around?
Back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years with the A's. Went to New York. Went back to the A's for a while.
Oh, okay.
They must have got moved. Went to Toronto for a year, came back to Oakland, went to San Diego, went back. He went to. He might have been back to the A's like 3 times throughout his
Oh,
career.
okay. Interesting. Maybe that's why. Maybe he always ended up with the A's, and that's where
I
my
mean, he
brain
spent
remembers it.
14 of his 25, like 14 years there. So it's not like it. You're not wrong. He's most known as an A. Well, let's put that into perspective.
Hmm.
However, he was there for he was on 9 teams and not just one. That's
Okay.
obscene. But again, Ricky, one of one in every facet, from his interviews to his style of play and the way he did it. 100, 130, 108, 80, 87, 93. He led the league in steals like 7 times. One, two,
Hmm.
three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10. I take that back. 10. Drew walks. You walk him. And again, he's the epitome
He's
of
on
don't put that
second.
guy on. See you later. You
That walk is a double.
for him every time
Yeah.
practically,
Yeah.
right? So again, RIP Ricky. We'd be remiss to not begin our show bringing that up.
Yeah. No, completely agree. So, all right. Again, it's that time of year that it's just people are signing, people are talking about signing. Obviously the big piece came off the board with Soto, and the Yankees are doing Yankee things, and they missed out. And they're like, "Hey, look at all this money we have to spend," and they have been doing that, sir. They have made a lot of moves, which was it Passon that said this is probably beneficial for them? Was it, or was it Rosen? One of the two guys was like, "Hey, it's probably good. Yankees fan, chill. It's probably good that they didn't get Soto. Now you're going to see the Yankees get a bazillion people, and that seems to be coming to fruition."
I guess if you want quantity over quality, I suppose. So
Yeah, but I mean,
that's
look, how does Devin Williams, Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt. How does that not make your team better than Soto? You know what I mean? Like I think there are arguments to be made. Oh, and Max Fried, um, who we already talked about. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else I haven't said yet. But like those are guys they've picked up since Soto went away. So to me, they're filling way more holes, which the team needed. Obviously, look at the World Series. With Soto, they got their butts kicked. Now, like, yeah, they're going to miss some offensive return, but they're going to get some of it back while filling other holes that they had, which was pitching by a mile. So I don't know. I think this is going to be far better for the Yankees in the long run.
I'm doing the math because I didn't prepare this beforehand because I didn't know you were going to be in such support of the Yankees just completely whiffing on Juan Soto and saying, screw it, we're just going to add as many guys as possible to try and make up for that production. So I am doing the math as we speak while I'm talking, based
Mm-hmm.
on this is all based on 2024 WAR. But let's actually say the deal. I think you inadvertently mentioned who everybody was that they acquired. But we got Devin Williams from the Brewers. They gave Nestor Cortez and Caleb Durbin back. Durbin might play for the Brewers, actually. He's
Yeah,
a
there's a
like
chance. Yeah,
24-ish, 25-ish prospect,
he's a
year old
Brewers
prospect.
guy. Like
Yeah, he
I
falls
hear
into
Durbin. I'm
Sal
like, yeah, that's
Frelick,
a Brewers guy.
Garrett
Yeah,
Mitchell. Like he's right in that.
yeah,
He very much fits that mold. And
yep.
honestly, pitching, I don't really have concerns about their pitching. So as long as they can get Nestor to shake that, excuse me, to shake that uh pitch against Freddie, I think they're going to be in decent shape. Um, we'll see. It is the Brewers. They're operating on a budget. I get why they did it. I don't have to
Hmm.
like it, but that's why they did it. Who else do we got here? Cody Bellinger. I don't
Hmm.
know how they swung this. They gave up Cody Petit and the Cubs threw in money. They really just wanted to get rid of that contract, and we'll talk
Yep.
about why here momentarily. But the Yankees add Cody Bellinger, uh, take on most of his contract. I think he was getting 20-ish million.
Sounds about
Again,
right.
Cubs sent 5 with it, so nothing too crazy there. And last but not least, they go the older first baseman route, a la Anthony Rizzo, but this time with Paul Goldschmidt.
Yep.
How clearly if they get MVP Paul Goldschmidt, we're having a completely different conversation. But he just has not been
No, they're not getting
that
MVP
good.
Paul Goldschmidt, but
Okay.
they're getting someone that can play. And what if they get MVP Cody Bellinger though?
Okay, but you could say that. What if they get MVP Giancarlo Stanton? I don't know. Like what?
No, I'm just saying like I think and I understand where you're going with it. These guys are not going to tip a candle whatsoever to Soto, but they're going to be making up some of that lack
But
because of
he
their skill sets.
okay. I did the math and I might be off one or two, but I'm pretty close. All those so Max Fried and then the three guys we just discussed: Devin Williams, Cody
Mm-hmm.
Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt via 2020 war 24 B war baseball reference war
Mm-hmm.
8.4. Juan Soto
Seven.
7.9.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Give me
So
Juan
see, they're
Soto all
winning.
day. No, they're not though. Like Juan Soto takes up one roster spot.
Yes, and when Juan Soto gets hurt, that 7.9 goes away. The total 7.9 goes away. These guys, you're talking of like different blocks. One of them goes down. That's a percentage chipped away. That's another one chipped away. Like to me, it's risk reward, right? Yes, Soto makes up all that in one player, but if Soto gets hurt, all of it goes away and not just a little bit of it. So
Juan Soto has
I
played.
think you can make an
Hmm,
argument. And yes, Juan Soto's played a lot of baseball and hasn't got hurt, all this kind of stuff. I get it because he's
okay.
young. Guess what? He's starting to get to that point that injuries are going to happen. You can't avoid it. You get hurt as you get older when you play 145 plus games a year. I know it's 162. I'm just saying most guys want to
You're
play at
good.
least 145. So I I understand Soto is better, generational talent, all that stuff. But the case can be made that the Yankees could be in a better situation by spreading out the war instead of investing the war in one person. That's all I'm saying.
You could make it, but it's the wrong argument.
I
You
mean,
could
you can
have
say
Juan
it.
Soto. You could say it all you want. You could have Juan Soto, and then you still can go get Cody
You know what
Bellinger,
the,
and now
you know what
you
that
add to that existing war.
you know what that
So
war
now
did?
you're
That
at
war got your asses beat in the World Series. Who
okay.
cares?
So what? How did they fix it? Did they get
They
better? No. The answer is no. They didn't get
I
better.
just
So
no.
we're going
You're
side
nuts.
by
They
side. We're going side by. Shut up. We're going side by side,
don't
right?
tell
We're
me to
going
shut up.
7.9 to 8.4. You're not. I didn't even take into account who they're replacing, right? Rizzo, was he negative? Probably not. So subtract that from whatever that bottom line is, right? They're not. Rizzo wasn't at zero. Who the hell is Bellinger replacing? I don't know. Okay, well, Rizzo had point 0.2. That wasn't a lot. But you get
But say
the
Rizzo didn't have anything. Look,
okay, but
look.
you
Here's the
get the
deal.
point.
They like Max Fried, Nestor, Max Fried, all the way. Much better pitcher, and also too like you're comparing WAR from last year. You know that like give me the average WAR of these players, and that will make a little maybe not Goldschmidt because he's on the down he's on the end of his career, but I I understand where you're coming from, and I do agree with you that Soto is a better player, but the Yankees got the doors beat off of them by the Dodgers because they didn't have enough talent to keep up with the Dodgers. They lost one player and they've replaced him with multiple to try to keep up with the talent. And I'm saying there's a argument to be made, a good argument to be made that
That's
they
your
might be a
opinion.
better team. It is, and it should be a lot of the Yankee fans' opinion as well.
Okay, sure.
So
You good.
we'll see
You're
what happens. We'll
okay.
see what happens where the Mets are, compared to where the
Okay,
Yankees
right
are.
now, right today, as of right this moment, let's assume the Yankees do nothing else, right? Their roster's full. I don't think
Okay.
it is, but what do you
I
give
don't
them
either.
for an off-season grade? You giving them an A?
An off-season grade?
Yeah. How'd
Yeah,
they
of
do?
course. Yeah, they have an A right now for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, they probably are they've done the best so far of the offseason.
Okay.
I mean, they've done the most
I don't
too.
think they're
That's
better
definitely
off.
helpful.
I I think they're switching around deck chairs on the Titanic. I don't think they're I don't think
I
they're
mean,
properly
like
replaced. Juan Soto. Now, again, Fried is a big deal. I'm looking at Devin Williams, Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt. I
Dude,
understand that.
Devin Williams is a big deal. What are you talking about?
Like,
Fried and like they picked up Fried and Devin Williams
okay,
on a team that
wins.
got their
Great.
they got their
Cody
doors
Bellinger
beat
and Paul.
off
So, okay, give
because
me
they
a win
can't
on Cody
pitch.
Bellinger and Paul Goldschmidt then, because they are not who we think they are. They're not what they have been.
Oh,
They're
I
not
think
MVPs anymore.
Goldschmidt's exactly who we think he is. He's an aging first baseman. I don't disagree with
Yeah,
that.
he had a
But
1.3 WAR last year. He's gone
that's
from
better than
7.7.
point two.
He's gone from 7.7 to 3.4 to 1.3.
But that's
Is that an upward trajectory? No,
no,
it
it's
isn't.
definitely not. But Rizzo
Okay.
was point two. And
Okay.
Cody Bellinger is got the ability to be a big piece when you add the fact that he's on the same lineup as Judge, as Stanton. Like that guy has the ability to see pitches that he wouldn't get to see in Chicago. Not to mention he's in a batter friendly ballpark, so his numbers are obviously going to go up, just like every other player that goes to New York, like with the juice balls, because everybody gets fat pitches in New York for whatever reason. So I don't think. I mean, there's going to be a drop off. I'm not saying there's not. There's obviously going to be a drop off offensively, but they don't. They can afford losing that offensive drop off by gaining the defensive uptick that they got. These are huge pieces. Max Fried and Devin Williams are two of the. They're both
Okay.
top 10 guys in their field.
Yes, that's
Okay.
okay.
Maybe in top five. Maybe in
Pitching
top
got better.
five.
Their lineup got worse.
I don't disagree, but their
Okay.
lineup wasn't trash.
You can't pitch around Soto and Judge, right? We said that all last year. You can't walk them both. Well,
Right.
and then they did. And if you did, then okay, you get to face Austin Wells, which was the right move all along. And then in the postseason, you could pitch the Judge apparently because he turns into a pumpkin. But anyway, but my point being, you're going after Bell. Okay, Bellinger bats behind Judge. Great. Go to first base, bud. He's not hitting 50 home runs if they're not. If Cody Bellinger's there, Cody Bellinger might hit 50 because he's going to have every opportunity to do so. He's got a better chance at 50 this year than Judge should.
You are out of your damn mind.
But
That's
for
not true.
whatever he should, Judge shouldn't get pitches to hit. He's going to because I don't know, somebody's paying him
Exactly.
to put fastballs down the middle of the plate to the guy. But he should not get. If Cody Bellinger hits behind Aaron Judge, it should be a no-brainer every single night that Aaron Judge has walked at least once.
Why would he, Cody Bellinger is going to hit in front of Judge, just like Soto did?
Okay, and I get Cody Bellinger out. He's going to hit 212. He might hit 30 home runs, but he's going to hit 212. And then you have Stanton behind him. Well, figure it out. Listen, they're not as dangerous. That's all I'm saying. You heard it first. They're not as dangerous.
I think the Yankees
I'm very
are
good. In case anybody's a first time listener, I have a very good track record on shitting on teams. They usually do exactly as I say.
Yeah, just
Yankees
ask Bobby
fans, you're
Witt and the
welcome.
Royals.
Catch you in the World Series again.
Yeah,
but
we'll see
I
what
have
happens.
to stand for something, or else I'll fall for anything. All right.
Look,
That's where we're at right
Look,
now.
I understand your passion and I get it. Soto is a generational talent, but I think
Yes.
in the game of baseball, which is a team sport more than any other sport out there, more above average guys is better than one great guy when it comes to being a team that can win in the long run and in the long season and in October. The reason they lost in October is because they didn't have pieces, and they've got a lot of pieces now. So I think the Yankees, maybe they won't win as much, maybe they won't be as dangerous, but when it matters in October, they're way scarier now than they were.
Okay. We'll see. Catch you then.
Okay.
We got
Yep.
a long way to go.
We got
I
a
don't
year.
believe it. All right. So part of I hinted at this, but we didn't want to go off on this tangent there. So part of why Cody Bellinger was available is the Cubs made I don't know what we want to call it. It's a great move, but it's a surprising move. It's an odd move. Kyle Tucker, one of the best players in Major League Baseball, right? Top 20
Excellent.
minimum. When he's healthy, 30-30 type guy, gets traded to the Cubs, and that made Cody Bellinger expendable, right? He had the most salary, so they were able to get rid of him, and they had a plethora of outfielders: Suzuki, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Al Tucker. They gave away Isaac Paredes, who should have a field day in Houston, much to my chagrin, with the Crawford boxes. Cam Smith and Hayden Wisniewski, who should maybe get some innings for them. I don't know what their rotation is going to look like this year. But obviously, the big deal is Kyle Tucker to Chicago. I love Kyle Tucker as much as I hate the Astros. I've always had a soft spot for Kyle Tucker. I don't know what this means for the Cubs.
Um,
So to use your wait, I'm gonna before you even go, I'm gonna use your logic to come back at you. Okay, they got Kyle Tucker, but now they lost Isaac Paredes and Cody Bellinger. On paper, using my logic, Kyle Tucker better, right? He should be
mhm.
via WAR, maybe by one or something. But it's still just I don't know. I guess they're gonna give Matt Shaw a chance and kind of roll from there. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think this is confusing too, because they have lost more pieces. I think they had to salary dump with Bellinger, so I think that makes sense. Losing Paredes, I feel like is a blow. Maybe they believe they're in their young talent, which could very well be the case. And like, all right, let's bring in a superstar because I think like I don't think Cal Tucker has gotten enough love. Like that dude
Agreed.
is so he's such a great baseball player, and for some reason he's been overshadowed by Altuve and
He's
Yohan
an
Al
he's an
Jordan
average
and all
like
those guys.
5.4 WAR guy. He played well. How about this? 5.7, 5.4, 5.4. Last year he was 4.7 in 78 games.
Yeah. I mean, the
He
dude's
was on his
like,
way to a career breakout season.
yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, it's like, and you're right. So like to the last argument, I think the Cubs' current state are worse. But again, they have to be trusting in their young players. Which, let's face it, the Cubs have never been a big spending type of team. It's always been let's homegrown it. Let's see what
yeah,
happens that
and they
way.
got lucky that they caught lightning in a bottle and
But
they got their
exact
win.
exactly. So and I think that's kind of where they're back at. Like they're just doing Cub things. Bellinger's now getting older and too expensive. I mean, he's still a great baseball player, but they're like, we have to salary dump. Hey, we're gonna like I think Kyle Tucker is an upgrade from Bellinger. Don't get me
Yes,
wrong.
huge.
But now we're like, okay, well, what else are we gonna do? And maybe the answer to that is nothing. And
It
it's like let's bring the young talent on and let's see what happens for
it
the next
it's
few years.
overall a fair deal. I mean, just to
I
it,
don't disagree.
last year he was trending well above his averages, but let's even say 5.4. He's a little bit better than the both of them were last year. So I don't hate that overall. I I do feel, and I'm curious your take on this. I do feel that this is a trade that warrants an extension
Hmm.
for Kyle Tucker, but at the same time, when you see these guys getting these contracts, it wouldn't surprise me if Kyle Tucker didn't sign anything and made himself a free agent.
Hmm.
So that's why he was expendable to the Astros. I understand it. I don't have to like it, but I understand it. And at least he's out of the Mariners' face for a while. I'm happy
Yeah,
about that.
exactly. I mean,
I'm
yeah,
happy about
and
that part because
you don't have to
again,
root
Kyle
against them
Tucker's a good
now.
player. No, I never really did just for those 15 games that he played Seattle,
Right.
but because he's a great player and fun to watch. So I'm curious to see what that dynamic looks like if they're able to get an extension done and if he's willing to sign, like what that even looks like. Because my argument for him would be absolutely the hell not. With seeing free agency, we'll go get, you know, 400 million or something. I
Hmm.
don't know what
Hmm.
the Cubs are willing to offer, but based on what we come to expect from them, it sure as hell isn't much.
It's
And
not
and
that.
Tucker's
Yeah.
going to be 28
Right.
next offseason. So when it comes to sign, I think he's going to get paid a lot of money. So I don't think they do it.
Yeah. No, I'm in agreement. That's not the Cubs way, if you want to, however you want to put it. But we'll see what happens. I mean, it's a head scratcher. But maybe they are saying, hey, we have really great young talent that we're just not there yet. Let's bring in Tucker so that we don't disintegrate as a team. And then next year he goes away and we figure something else out. Who knows? I mean,
I don't
it'll be
know.
interesting to see how it plays off. But that one's definitely a weird one. But hey, I mean, Cubs are going to Cubs, so it's also not surprising.
Yeah, so this is going to be my segue into the Astros now. Isaac Paredes, again, Cam Smith and Hayden Wesneski go there.
Mhm.
Paredes is my concern as a Mariners fan.
Yep.
Huge pull hitter. His power is all pull, and he's got Crawford boxes to hit into now,
Mhm.
and he's going to be not a breakout because he's kind of always been a decent power guy, but he's going to hit 30 plus.
Yeah, I don't
And I
disagree.
don't love that idea, and it kind of bothers me.
Hate
And
that.
then and then they added Christian Walker for 3 years,
That's
$60 million.
oof.
Talk about another guy who is going to take advantage of said Crawford boxes. So they had set up there. I don't know if Paredes could play some third, so he might be their Bregman replacement. And now Christian Walker is going to play
Mm.
first. They're not going to DH Walker, at least not now, because he's a Gold Glove caliber first baseman. So he won't be DH only yet. Paredes, I think, could be third base, but worst
Mm.
case DH. They got some power guys. And again, are they going to make up for Kyle Tucker? Maybe not. But now you're navigating a lineup of Christian Walker, Jordan Alvarez, Jose Altuve, Isaac Paredes. And again, are Paredes and Walker stars? No, but they're power threats. They're 30 plus homer guys.
Definitely agree. I mean, and I thought Walker was definitely going to the Yankees, so I'm glad he's not. Although my condolences that he's going to your division. But
I
I,
don't
I
love
think
it.
Walker can be a stud, and so I'm glad he's not a Yankee because I'm not a Yankees fan. But I mean, if they had gotten him, then my case was signed, sealed, delivered. So I think they missed out on him, and that's why they went Goldschmidt. But I do think the Astros, if they sign Bregman, which I can't imagine, I don't know where Bregman goes. I still think he's going back to the Astros. Um, so I mean that lineup sounds pretty scary right now if that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, I don't love it. And again, it depends on what you want to talk about in terms of guys, right? As opposed to now it's just Tucker and Jordan. Now it's or excuse me, now it's Paredes and Walker and Jordan. And yes, they still have Altuve at the top, and he's still gonna hit his walk off or lead off home run, and I'm gonna get mad. But they are the Astros don't pack it in completely. They tried this with Jose Abreu, so hopefully
Hmm.
it blows up in their face. As I think a lot of teams in need of a first baseman wanted Christian Walker, so I'd be lying to say I didn't want the Mariners to sign him. But now he's with the Astros, and I hope he's not worth any of that money, and I hope he stinks. But I don't think that's going to be the case.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, I think that the Astros right now are um, they're interesting. I mean, losing Tucker's a big deal.
Yeah, and
Did
it's
they make
weird
up
to bounce
for it? I don't
back.
know. Yeah, but
It's
I
going to
mean,
be
we
weird
were
to
we
bounce
were saying the
back.
Astros were looking like they're starting to age, right? So they got young. Well, I don't know. Tucker's young too. Yeah, it's tough. I don't know how I feel about it. Like I think this could go either way for him. It could continue. It could give him a boost, or it could not really do much, and they'll continue to decline. So I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, Paredes is younger and Christian Walker way older. So pick your
Yeah. Okay.
poison on
Yeah.
if you want.
Okay.
You were about to say younger, and it was like, well, technically yes and no. So I guess we'll see. It doesn't look like Bregman is going to go back. Maybe he still does. Maybe there's a chance, but that looks unlikely. What else do we have? Let's stay out west, and then we have a plethora of shit that went on today, this morning. Passon was going nuts. But anyway, Josh Naylor from the Guardians to the D-backs for Slade, Ciccone, and a competitive balance round B draft pick. Don't even know what that is. I think that's just from, I don't know. It's a competitive balance pick apparently. But anyway, Slade Ciccone, Guardians probably throw him in their pitching factory and he becomes
Yep.
somebody decent. But Josh Naylor, I'm not sure how to feel about him. They got their replacement for Christian Walker.
It's not an upgrade.
No, it's the same.
Yeah,
I,
I'd have to look at the actual stats to say it's the same. I don't think it is. I mean it might be, but I feel like it's. mm, I mean Naylor. I think Naylor's younger.
yeah, Naylor's 27. I'm looking
Okay.
at it.
Okay.
Again, if you just want to go off B War, 1.5 for Naylor, Walker 2.6.
Okay. Yeah.
Walker 26 homers, hit 251. Naylor had 31 homers, hit 243. So similar production,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
his OPS wasn't very good for his power. It was very weird. So he hit 31 home runs, the first time he's ever surpassed 31, by the way.
Hmm.
Uh,
So I mean, I like here's the deal. Good for the D-backs. They knew they weren't getting Walker back, so they did the best they could to replicate him, and they kind of did that with Naylor. So,
I think it's fine. I like the
that's right.
D-backs. I have no
Yeah,
problem with it.
I don't
And
think they got better. I don't, but they did not get worse, and that's all you can really ask for right now. I
yeah,
think.
he's definitely not, I don't know what value you want to assign to first baseman defense, but Christian Walker is certainly one of the best in the league. Naylor, I don't think, is very much appreciated for his defensive prowess. So I think
Hmm.
that hurts him in his WAR numbers. But again, it's just very weird for a guy who hit 31 home runs to not have an OPS over 800. Only
Yep.
had 776.
Mm.
So he doesn't walk a ton. He had more walks this year than ever. But to your point, I think it's a very similar move. I don't think the Diamondbacks are in bad shape. They didn't really give much up. And Naylor is a free agent after the season, which is why it was relatively cheap for them. So good on them. They made a move. They knew what they needed to do, and that worked. So this kind of started a a run, if you will, of first baseman off the board.
Hmm.
So shortly after that news broke, Carlos Santana has agreed to sign back with the Guardians. He's been there before for one
Shocker.
year, 12 million. So Guardians have their first baseman again. Uh, sure. I like Carlos Santana. He's a veteran presence. He'll be okay. I don't, you know what you're going to get.
Yep.
I guess he can break out a little bit, but he's a 38 or
If it's
39 year
not
old.
broke, don't fix it. That's kind of where they're going. Like, okay, he was sufficient. Let's run it back. So I don't blame them at all. I think it's a good move. I think 1 year, hey, prove it. Because you said what he's older, right? 30.
He's close. He's 38 or 39 years old. He's been
Yeah.
around the block.
He's super old. Okay.
Carlos
Yeah. Yeah.
Santana,
Yeah.
very old. Yeah.
Okay. Never mind. Yeah. Yeah. So he's definitely old. They're like, yeah. We'll give you 1 more year to see if this lightning in a bottle strikes again. I don't want to say lightning. It wasn't like he was outstanding, but he does what they need him to do. So
He had 2.5 WAR last year.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
I hit 23 home runs, 71 RBIs, played solid defense, I would presume. So that's the most
You can
WAR
play
he's
base. You can play first base for a while.
yeah, that's the most WAR he's had since 2020. Oh, so, since 2023. Sorry, that broke it all up. He had 2.7 WAR in 2023. Uh, okay, he's doing his thing.
Yep.
I think he's having a bit of a resurgence at his old age. And
Hmm.
if the Guardians are going to play this, we need a few dollars to spend, then Santana for 12 million is fine. Other first baseman. Again, we had the run here, so we were talking Walker, we were talking Naylor, we are talking Santana, and then Nathaniel Lowe. Wow,
Woo!
Wow, Nathaniel Lowe to the
I
Washington
think it's low.
Nationals. I think it's Brandon Lowe and Nathaniel Lowe.
I just remember Derek Lowe, and it's spelled the exact same way.
There's a bunch of Lowe's in the league, and they're pronounced different, I think. But anyway,
Interesting. All right, who cares?
he's on his way to the Nationals for Robert Garcia. Uh, to heading back to the Rangers, we did reach out to Doug for comment. He was like, "I'm not really sure about Robert Garcia." Oh man, he threw in like 60 games. I did watch a lot of him. Didn't have much to say about him, so I'm sure he's going to be a stud in Texas. But
Yep.
the Nationals got a first baseman. I guess it's a very
Sure.
yawn type of
Yeah.
move. I think
Yeah.
they have him under control for a year or two, so whatever.
I don't think this is one of those things that incites a lot of excitement for the national fans. Doug's not very excited. He's a little ho
Yeah,
hum
he's a
about it.
guy.
Part-time producer Doug Irwin, by the way. So it's definitely not something that hits headlines. But they're filling a need. So we'll see what happens. And I mean, I don't know. I don't think this makes them better. If I'm being
No,
quite honest with you.
it's a move. They needed a
Yeah.
first baseman because he's been humming. He was thinking Paul Goldschmidt was in their range. in could be a possibility, just a name to draw some people. And the way the Nationals operate in terms of free agents, it feels like they try to attract vets that they could almost flip come July.
Yeah,
Uh,
Goldschmidt feels like a Nats guy for sure.
Correct.
Yeah.
That a guy, okay, he broke out, somebody come trade for him, and now
Yep.
he's with, whoever for the stretch run. So maybe that happens with Lau. Who knows? Here's one that I definitely thought would be the case, and then we saw the dollar amount and almost passed out, and that's Mike Soroka. He also signed with the Nats. So again, via text with Doug, we were like, "Hey, Soroka signed. Great, love that move," he says. And then he found out that it was for $9 million and acted like Scrooge McDuck and
Yeah.
was not very thrilled about
Here's
the amount.
$9 million is not that much money, and I mean, look, granted, Soroka had a trash year last year, but he was with the
White
White
Sox.
Sox, and everyone had a trash year last year with the White Sox. Soroka, somewhere deep down, there's that young pitcher that was the Braves ace, right? So it is worth taking a shot on this kid if that's there anywhere. 9 million feels like a lot, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, we're looking at. I mean, let's look at the Red Sox paid, basically that money for a pitcher for 2 years, and he's going to be out. One of the years he's going to be out till July. Like, so I don't think that 9 million's really that much money on a guy that has the highest ceiling as Soroka does. But maybe I'm just a little too partial because of his years with the Braves.
I think so. I expected less, maybe like five feels like the
Yeah,
right number. So nine it
I mean
feels
it's a
like a
single
staggering
digit
amount.
still. Yes, it's a
Agreed,
single
agreed.
digit still.
It's definitely not a lot, but when you're operating under the Nationals budget at this point, taking a flyer on a guy does not include $9 million. You
That's
can
fair.
get, you could piece together a decent bullpen with $9 million. If you play your cards right.
You're
Let
not wrong.
alone, so again, to your point, if he does pitch to that extent of what he once was, then sure,
It's a
somebody will
steal.
take
Yeah,
him and yeah,
yeah.
take the 4.5 million for the second half of the season, whatever.
Mhm.
Uh, you already said it, so let's jump there. Patrick Sandoval to the Red Sox, 2 years, 18.5 million. He's going to be out till July for recovering from Tommy John. They have a pattern of doing this. They did this with Giolito last year, but
Mhm.
Giolito missed all of last year, so he should come back and we'll see what he's got. So I suppose we'll see what Sandoval can offer them. Even as it stands right, well, let's say the other deal, and then we can elaborate on Sandoval more.
Mhm.
The bigger deal for the Red Sox, Walker
Yep.
Bueller, 1 year
Yep.
deal. I'm just going to say 20 million, 21 million. He could get performance bonuses of 2.5. So contract could be up to about 23 and a half for the guy. Pitch his ass off in the World Series, deserved
Yep.
it. Working through a lot of stuff as far as injuries and coming back. A 1 year prove it deal, a la
Yep.
Sean Manaea, foreshadowing there, of course,
Yep.
as well. But Walker Buehler slots right into their rotation. They've got a pretty solid rotation overall now.
Yes, I do.
And where I was going with Sandoval is now he doesn't have that. It's almost a luxury where someone like him doesn't have that pressure to have to
Does not
come
to
in
rush.
and be like,
Yep.
I have to come in July and I have to make a difference. Okay, he could come, he could get up to speed, and he can be the sixth starter. Oh, we need to go. Everybody needs an extra day of rest come August. All right, cool. I could be that guy.
I
Uh,
think. I mean, I like the deals. And I like to see that the Red Sox are going out there. Although I am concerned because both of these pitchers are coming off of significant arm, like Tommy John. And I think Bueller's on his second, right, or something along those lines. So they're risking some things with both of these signings, but they already have a very talented young staff, and then they're just adding to it. So I think in the end they're going to come out better, but they are taking some risks. But I do agree, like they have the luxury of not rushing. Like, hey, buddy, like take your time. We want you to be as good as you can be when you get back because we're set.
yeah.
And I mean, look, Bueller was like absolutely deserves that contract, that prove it contract, and I'm glad it's the Red Sox that got him. I mean, I wanted it
Yeah,
to be the Braves, but I'm glad it's the
it's
Red
a good
Sox.
deal. And again, he's going to do that 1 year prove it deal. Hopefully, it
Yep.
works out. And the Red Sox, just rotation wise, I'm reading off a tweet here on my phone. Garrett
Hmm.
Crochet, Tanner Hawk,
Mm-hmm.
Walker Bueller, Brian
Mm-hmm.
Bello, who was
Mm-hmm.
practically their ace come the
Yeah.
beginning of the season, right? Hawk
Yep.
pitched much better.
They're
But Brian
nasty.
Bello is now their four.
Yep.
Cutter Crawford and Giolito are their five. I don't know what they're going to do there. And
Dude,
then you have,
Crawford was so good last year too. Like, I
correct, and
mean,
I don't know if they want to continue to use him as a starter though. I think that was the conversation. We'll see.
that's fair. Yeah, yeah.
Steve, our buddy Steve will chime in when he listens to this tomorrow, and let me know what Cutter Crawford's role is,
Yeah.
specifically. But there's six guys right there, right?
Yeah,
And then you have
that's a great
Sandoval
staff.
being a seven, so it's almost as if Sandoval is just being ready, has to be ready for next year. Because I don't know if because they're going to lose Giolito in theory, right? He's on his second year of his
Yeah.
deal. So some of these guys will probably come off the board for them. So Sandoval is a good deal, but Bueller is the more intriguing one. He's going to have an impact. We'll see where he slots and how much they use him.
Yep.
And maybe it does make sense to have that sixth guy and Crawford doesn't get traded or moved anywhere because they're going to need to spell Bueller and give him a few extra days off as the season goes on. I don't hate that
If
idea.
Yeah, I don't hate it either. If these guys pitch to their skill sets, which we saw last year, this could be one of the best rotations in baseball, if not the best, from top to bottom. Like I don't think there's. I mean, Crochet's pretty. I think that's their ace. That's their dominant pitcher. But all these other guys could be close to that, up more than above average from top to bottom. No team can say that their 1 through 5 are all above average pitchers.
You
Maybe
take
one
that
through
back.
three
The
the
Seattle
Mariners are
Mariners.
you're the closest. I'll get you guys are
Pretty
the
damn
closest. I'll
close.
I'll give
There's
you
a
that.
couple teams that are putting together some solid rotations right
I
now, though.
agree, and I love it
Overall,
because I feel
way
like
more
we
than a year ago. I will say
no
that.
completely agree with that, and I love it. I love it. I think the Red Sox have they have the potential of making that argument next year, so that's cool.
So I have a question. This is gonna go. We're gonna come back to a couple. There's like three or four more moves I want to talk about. But
Yep,
before we do that, we're talking about the Red Sox and their depth and how many pitchers they have.
yep,
How would you feel? You're a Red Sox fan.
yep.
Let's use this example. How would you feel if they just went with the six-man rotation? Like, hey, this
Do
is what
it.
we're doing this year. Six-man
Do it.
rotation.
I'm in. I'm in. Look, here's the deal. Like pitchers' arms are falling off, right? And it's because of
Okay.
overuse. So if I had a rotation that was 6 players deep and it was good pitchers, all 6 of
Yeah, I
them,
think as a six starter, any of these guys fit perfectly fine.
hell yes.
Even a healing Giolito.
No, I would 100% say like if I would be so stoked on that because I think it creates opportunity for longevity for each of those pitchers to pitch the entire season and into October. And then maybe October like, hey, 5 and 6, go to the bullpen. These top
Yeah,
4 are
we
going
got
to
to
be the
figure.
one.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
will have to, have. It's going to make for tough conversations for the manager at some point, but
Yeah.
it's going to get you through the 162.
I am so in on teams doing this and I think more of them should, if I'm being
I
quite honest.
so I agree. I've had to think about it more as the Mariners have a pretty solid rotation and most of them are pretty
Mm-hmm.
young. Minus Castillo and a couple guys that might be leaving, Gilbert, Kirby, who might get whatever not re-signed, which is bullshit. But anyway, we're gonna move past that. So obviously the rumors are swirling on Roki Sasaki, and I don't think Seattle's gonna get him. But it's just a thought of like, if they get him, everybody's like, well, Castillo's gone. And in my head, it's maybe we just roll out a six-man rotation and let it ride from there. Let
Mm-hmm.
Sasaki. This is Mariners specific, but I'm just saying if the Mariners were to get Sasaki, let him get acclimated to Major League Baseball. Let Bryce Miller and Brian Wu, they're still going to get theirs, but they get an extra day of rest. They're not blowing their arms out. They don't have to throw 33 games. We
I
don't
love
need them
that.
every fifth day to throw 33.
I
Maybe
love
we
it.
get 26 out of everybody. I think that's a solid thought process. And it's not easy to do. It's not easy to accumulate six legitimate starting pitchers.
100%.
But
100%.
I feel as this offseason has gone, like the Yankees feel like they have a pretty solid core right now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Cole, Max Fried, this off the top of my head, Luis Heel, uh, at least Stroman,
Mm-hmm.
Clark Schmidt. The Mets are similar. They don't really have an ace type guy, but they just have a conglomerate of guys that they're
Yeah.
trying to make this a thing. But I think
I mean, think
that's the
like
next. That might be the next move. That might be the answer to helping with arms
100%.
and longevity. Maybe that's how
Yeah.
we see it going
So
forward.
I completely agree with you. We had a conversation earlier with on another podcast where we talked about Tommy John and how arms like they're just getting tired and getting broken, and baseball has to do something about it, right? They have to take steps towards how do we take care of these guys, and a 6 man rotation might be the answer. I mean, look at it like if you look. I mean, obviously some teams can't where they're having to do bullpen games, like say the Tigers, but a part of that is they're trying to conserve the other guy's arms too. So maybe they have to change the way that they're looking at starting pitching. Hey, maybe we have to go to a 6 man rotation. Maybe we have to go to a 7 man rotation so that these arms aren't being overworked. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm interested to see a team try it and do it successfully.
All right. I just want your opinion because it feels like that's what the Red Sox should be doing,
I
even
agree.
when all these guys come back and assuming they're all healthy.
I mean,
Uh,
in the end, they're probably going to make him as trade bait, but who knows? We'll see.
yeah, that seems to be the case, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? But that they were just to throw this out there as well. They were in what seemed to be pretty deep talks for Luis Castillo from
Hmm.
Seattle, with Tristan Casas being the guy named to potentially get moved. That doesn't seem like that's dead. The Red Sox really don't have a need for a guy like Castillo at this point, based
Not
on those
anymore.
guys we just named. So Seattle may have screwed themselves if they were really trying to make that move or not, or who knows. But I think the Red Sox are in decent shape, and maybe another ad or two, and they're right back in business,
Yeah.
and way in a way different thought process than they were at this point last offseason.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, they outperformed what everyone thought they were going to, and that had a
Correct.
big, big reason to that was because their pitching was so good, and now they've
Hmm.
just made it better, which they have to do. They're going to play the Orioles and the Yankees, who both have stud lineups. You got to pitch well, and they're like, okay, we know where to invest, and I think they're making the right moves. So kudos to them.
So Walker Bueller was maybe the last move in of this morning, where when I was making a joke about passing.
Dude, that
So
guy was up at like 3 a.m. just
so
tweeting
two
his ass off.
about 1:45 in the morning, Passon broke this news that Sean Manaea signed a 3-year deal for 75 million with the Mets, so he's returning to the Mets. His so similar to how we were bringing up Walker Bueller and taking a chance on himself, that's exactly what Sean Manaea did. Signed the 1-year deal with the Mets,
Mm-hmm.
pitched his ass off,
Mm-hmm.
was needed in the postseason, pitched well there, and now he got rewarded. 25 million a year for the lefty, 32 years old. He's going to slot right back into that Mets rotation. He's going to be a key piece for everything that they've got going on. Good for him. Good for them. So he was the first move. The another move, I don't even know what happened, what time it happened, but Walker Bueller was the last move, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's another one we'll talk about for a second. But any more thoughts on Manaea to the Mets? I don't have much more to say than it's good
He earned it.
signing. I
I
think it
mean,
worked out for
like,
the
yeah,
Mets.
I mean, the guy earned it, and the Mets stay, in the conversation, by not losing him, right? Because they need
They're
pitching.
going with the. It feels like they're going with the Minnesota Twins method of just compiling like number two and number three
Yeah,
starters.
I get you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now the Cardinal. Who did I say? The Twins. The
You said
Twins
the
used to do that.
Twins.
The Twins did that. The Cardinals did that too for a little while.
Yep.
But so the Twins, when they had Lopez and Sonny Gray, it was just like they just kept signing guys, and you're like, yo, like none of these guys are aces, but they're all legitimate number three starters in the league for any team, and that's how it feels with the Mets. So maybe that does work, and maybe that's the method that plays long term. We're gonna see, but that lineup's gonna mash, assuming they're
Yeah,
still
they
in.
they just need guys to keep it close enough and let the lineup do the rest.
Yep. So the other move that happened as part of this morning, again, exactly what time I have no idea, but Jock Peterson,
Jacques
Rangers
Peterson.
for a hair under 40 million for 2 years. So 37 million, what's that? 17 and a half,
Hmm.
18 and a,
Got
18 and a
paid.
half. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
For presumably DH, and maybe just strong side platoon. Um, versus righties. I don't know how he does against lefties. I did not look that up at all. But I like Jock. I know you like Jock. You have a soft spot for him. I
Absolutely.
don't. I don't love him being on the Rangers, and that lineup looks
I mean, yeah,
scary.
that lineup is even more scary than they have been, right? So I,
Yeah.
I think this is a great signing for the Rangers. I think Jock is. I mean, He's a locker room guy, whether you like that term or not. He really brings an attitude and a swagger, and he's got a great bat. And I think it's just going to be complementary to the rest of that lineup. So I think this makes the Rangers even that lineup even more dangerous. And yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
buddy. Yeah,
So
you're gonna have
I
to struggle with that.
potential lineup, just guys that they have
Oh
that
boy, let's
should
hear it.
insert: Marcus Simeon, Corey Seager, Wyatt
Whew.
Langford, who played his ass
Yep,
off at the end of last
so
year,
good.
Adolis Garcia, who's probably tradable at this point, but he's still their cleanup. Josh Jung, who's having a good year before he
Mm-hmm.
got injured. Jake Berger, if you forgot, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if we talked about it, but they had gotten him. I forget at what point we discussed him. Um, Jonah Heim, their catcher, and then whoever they start in center between Evan Carter and Leody Tavares.
Oof, that's a good lineup. It's a really good lineup.
So I don't love it. I don't love it.
Okay,
Their
and
lineup's
folks,
good
he's
enough
saying
anyway.
that because he's a Mariners fan. That means
Yes,
it's really
yes.
good.
Yeah, their team is good. But they did it. They were the original, not the original, but recently we're gonna spend a shit ton of money and put this team together, and they did. They won a World Series out of it. They got
Yep,
Seager, they got Simeon, and now they're adding young guys like Carter, who was hurt last year, Langford turning it
Langford.
on.
Yep,
Um, so I don't love it. Here's hoping their pitching falls apart, but man, you're gonna have to put up 5 or 6 to beat them
you
every
will.
day.
Yeah,
It sure feels
absolutely.
that way.
Yep.
Who else we got? I think.
I think there's two teams left. So we got the Phillies and the Orioles that I think we both have moves. Let's just touch on the Orioles real quick because it's only the one, and that's the one I know the least about. I think you looked into this a little, but they signed Tomoyuki Sagano to
Sure.
a 1 year, 13 million, and he's an older pitcher from Japan, right? Or not, and I
Yeah.
say older, but like he's not one of those young rising stars that everyone wants like Sasaki, but he has a great tenure over there in that league.
Yeah, he's one of their better pitchers. Yeah, I don't know if you read the stats, sorry, but if you didn't, 1.67, not a lot of walks, strikeouts, 150, excuse me, over 100 strikeouts, 156 innings. So he's not a strikeout guy.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means in terms of translating here, right? He's
yeah,
not going to be that power guy. Uh, but we've seen that kind of play, right? A little bit in terms of the international type of guys who are a little bit more crafty.
hmm hmm
I would say, oh my God, what the hell is his name? Why can't I? This Cubs guy.
I'm not helping you. I'm gonna do the Jeopardy music.
Do you know who it is? I can't get Yamamoto out of my head, but it's not him.
It's not
What?
Yamamoto.
What is it?
It's not Sasaki.
No,
It's
what
not
is
you,
it?
Darvish.
I
I'm not
don't I
telling.
don't know his name, man. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Don't look it up. Think about it. Just think he's a part of the conversation. The first starts with an I.
Imanaga. Imanaga.
Yeah, there it
Good
is.
God, I wasn't gonna get there.
I thought giving an I was going to be like
I
a,
almost
a
said
home
Tad.
run.
I was going to Iguchi. I was like, Iguchi? I was like, he hasn't played in like 10
When you
years.
paused after I said I was like,
He's on one of my fantasy teams
what is
too.
happening,
I
Chris?
almost forgot
Okay,
his name already. I was like, what is it again? Imanaga. Okay, so
yeah,
anyway, now Imanaga's a
got
lefty,
there.
so he doesn't have to throw as hard. But it
Correct.
feels like Imanaga doesn't throw as hard. And he was pretty successful in his first go around.
hmm
Um, you know,
There's not a lot of
I'll
tape on
argue.
him either. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I'll
So like
argue.
that
Luckily,
helps
he's on the
translate.
older side of the spectrum, so
Hmm
he won't have a ton of years to get figured out, I guess. Right?
Right.
Imanaga might struggle in the coming years if he doesn't command a little better and things like that. But for the Orioles, they need pitching. Sure, they added a guy. They spent a few
I mean,
dollars.
13 was it 13 million? That's not.
Yeah, he's successful.
Yeah, let's do it.
He was very good over in Japan. I think that's worth it. I'd pay that over the 9 million for Soroka,
Yeah, I
right?
think so.
So
Yeah, yeah, I
if we're
think so.
talking in those respects, I feel good about that. Uh, Last but not least, this wasn't the best move that we did this in no order. We just kind of bouncing around based
No,
on
absolutely. Yeah.
conversation. The Phillies made two moves. One, they signed Max Kepler to 1 year deal for 10 million. I like it. Provide some outfield depth. Uh, Maybe makes Castellanos expendable. I'm not sure what their plan is there, but I don't hate that move. I think a couple of the Phillies fans did indeed like it. Another move, talk about a team who has a pretty deep rotation, the Philadelphia Phillies. They trade intra. I don't know how to use those. They trade with the Marlins, a team that's in their division. Uh, they trade
I hate this
prospect
trade so much.
Starlin Caba and Marion Boyd. The Marlins are doing Marlins things and just trading anybody and everybody that they can that's worth the value. The
Ugh,
Phillies take Jesus Luzardo off their hands. And if Jesus Luzardo, while he didn't have a great year last year, if he is your fifth starter, you are in a very, very,
that
very
sucks.
good spot, in my opinion.
Yeah, no,
It
I
is
agree with
better
you.
than they were throwing out like Taiwan Walker, who was just an automatic L last year. He did not have it
Hmm.
for himself. So I that immediately bolsters them. Again, a team that Wheeler, Nola, I'm blanking. Oh, uh
Ranger.
Ranger, Christopher
Yep.
Sanchez, and now
Yep.
Lizardo. And they still have
Yep.
Taiwan Walker. He probably doesn't really do much.
No, I don't think he
Uh
does. This is the one I hated seeing this. Now our buddy Chris Clegg, who has a affinity and a good eye for young talent, says that Kaba is legit. So there's a chance that the Marlins do get a great prospect that one day becomes impactful. But that I don't care about that. I care about the now. And the fact that Lizardo is going to be a number five on that rotation. That makes the Phillies better. I hate it, just like you hate Jock going to the Rangers. So,
yeah.
not a fan of this. But this is a good move for the Phillies. They have to win now. Like the Phillies can't. And
Yeah, this is their window, and it's a
yeah,
good
this is their
move.
window. They have to do it. Yeah,
So that
completely
gives
agree.
them, some much needed pitching help.
Look, the Mets are getting
He's
better. The Braves aren't going
Yep.
anywhere. They've like the Dodgers obviously
Yeah,
continue
the
to
Braves
stay
are
good.
are presumably going to be healthy, right?
Yes, correct.
So
Yep. Yeah.
so they'll
Yeah.
hang around. So you
Yeah.
can't
So
sit
this is
back and
smart.
watch the rest of your division get better and not make a move,
Yeah.
even if it is for your fifth starter. Like I said, some of the Phillies fans I'm friend with are like, we're taking losses every 5 days. Luzardo should put an end to that.
Yes.
And to expound on Chris Clegg's uh thoughts on Starlin Caba. He said he might be a 70 grade shortstop with solid speed and feel to hit. Fun player to dream on his development. So
Wow.
basically a decent lottery ticket, maybe
Yep.
not, no brainer. He's just young. I think when he put this out, this is in a tweet. It was on the 22nd of December. So I think
Hmm.
he should still be 18. He's grown a little since the last
He's
time
a
he even
baby.
put out his report. Yeah, so his power isn't. He also says he's going to play better as a real life player than fantasy, right? So don't be stuck on him in terms of power production and things like that. But he should be a solid ball player based on what Chris's reporting is. However, he's 18. He's with the Marlins. So what? 4 years away, just
Yep.
like it feels like that franchise is for eternity.
Every year.
I don't even know what they have there in terms of major league talent. They've traded Berger, they've traded Luzardo. It's only a matter of time until we see Sandy Alcantara get traded. I would
Yeah.
assume if he makes a few starts that are good, I don't think his asking price is going to be too. Excuse me. I don't think his price is going to warrant trading him now because nobody's sure. But if they roll him out there, let him pitch a little bit, I think he's going to be trade bait immediately. Who else do they have? They have Yuri Perez, who's coming back from Tommy John, so he'll be a 2 year project at this point. I don't know. I can't wait to find somebody to do the Marlins preview because I need to know what's going on down there in Miami and see what they're thinking because I don't like it. So
Yeah.
I can only
No, I hate
imagine
it.
what anybody else is thinking.
I'm looking at their lineup last year. Jesus Sanchez, Josh Bell,
They're
uh,
not there anymore.
Jonah Bride, Nick Gordon. These are home run leaders. Yeah, yeah. This is. I mean, I don't know what this
De
team
La
is.
Cruz isn't there anymore.
Yeah, I don't. I just don't know what this team is anymore. Like we'll have conversations about them being the worst team in baseball
Not
again.
not to say Jake Berger and Jesus Luzardo were the glue holding this team together, but they were Major League Baseball players, right?
Correct.
They
Yeah, yeah.
actually have value. They're
It's
solid
why they
players.
were
They could make
traded
a
because they had
yeah,
value.
they could
Yeah.
make a difference on a baseball team, not on the Marlins. But I don't know. I don't love what's going on down there. Again, I'm
Nope.
interested to see. Maybe they do have a stockpile of prospects that are going to be good. Who knows? But it doesn't seem likely. Uh, how do we feel? Did we wrap up? I believe that is everything.
I think that's everything
There
that
is one. I'm
matters.
missing one. I am missing one. It's a small one, but yeah, it's everything since the last time we met in terms of signings that
Uh huh.
I deemed worthy enough. That's everything we've made a graphic for and put on social media. The only other one we did not talk about, Andrew McCutchen is back, coming to the Pirates.
Coaching, right? He's going to coach, right? He's not actually going to try to play
uh,
baseball anymore
player
at it
coach,
as
maybe.
an 80-year-old man.
Yeah, that'll go over well. We're gonna talk shit on MVP Andrew McCutchen.
No,
That works.
I love Kutch. I
Yeah,
just
great,
Kutch. I
great.
love Kutch. I think he's an awesome ball
Yeah,
player.
can't wait to have him on so we can play
Old,
that for him.
but
Jesus
he's old.
Christmas.
That's fine. If that gets him on the podcast, who cares? You know how many people you shit on, Chris?
Too many. Kyle Gibson might wring my neck if he ever meets me.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, McCutcheon back to the Pirates. That's
I
if
mean,
he's gonna keep
good
playing.
for
If
him.
if
Good
he's
for
gonna
him.
keep playing, that's where he
Play in
belongs.
Pittsburgh.
I'm
I
fine with it.
completely agree.
I have
Completely agree.
no qualms there. So again, just to reiterate, did we miss anything? Is there any rumors swirling out there of anybody left? I feel
I,
like there are guys out there, but I don't hear anything.
no, I haven't heard a lot. I mean, I think the Yankees at this point are in the the hunt for basically everybody. I'm interested to see what happens with Burns and Bregman. I think those are the top of my list because those are the ones I know I'm the least convinced about where they'll go. I think they'll stay with their teams, but if they go somewhere else, I think it's a wild card. I don't know where the hell they end up. So those are the ones that I care about the most. I don't think I think Alonso stays in New York because the Mets
Feels
are.
right.
Yeah, it feels like the Mets are like, nah, fuck it, we're gonna make it happen, and we're gonna go for it. And so I think that I don't. I think that's a foregone conclusion at this point. They're just trying to find numbers. Um, so I think those are the two bigger names that I care about seeing where they land. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, there's still a lot of offseason to be had. And obviously, Sasaki, it'll be interesting to see where he signs. I still think it's the Dodgers, but I mean, I haven't heard anything new. Like, oh, hey,
Yeah,
there's this new
there's
team.
been no rumors.
Nothing.
Even
Yeah.
those deals that happen, over the last couple, it feels like this weekend there's been a lot of movement, and there weren't even really leaks
No.
there. Like the
Mm-mm.
Christian Walker, I think that was on Friday. It was like, Heyman was like Christian Walker close to a deal, and then 30 seconds later, Christian Walker agrees. So it
It was
wasn't,
quick. Yeah, it was
yeah,
fast.
like, there were rumors with the Mariners and with maybe Boston too. I forget exactly all the rumors with Walker, but there are at least rumors swirling like Alonso, nothing, Jack Flaherty, nothing, Santander,
Mhm.
nothing. Like Teoscar has been like people
How
are
many of those guys are
speculating.
Boris guys, by the way? I think both Burns and Bregman are Boris guys, right? I think Orlando is too, actually.
I think they all are. I don't
Yeah,
know
so
about
that probably,
Flaherty.
I bet that has a lot to do with it, if I'm being
I
honest.
don't know about any of those guys as well. Flaherty, Santander, Teoscar. Teoscar, I don't know if there's rumors, but it's more speculation. It's a lot of just people like us just be like, I think he goes here. So I was talking to Dan, Reds fan Dan, and he was very adamant of not adamant, but hey, we should go after Teoscar. And I agreed. I think he'd be a good fit in Cincinnati. But other than that, I don't really have any more thoughts than I've had because I don't know. Nothing changed, so my thoughts don't change. Let it ride. You're right. I don't know. I have nothing else to go off of. So we'll see where the big players left. We'll just name them: Sasaki, Corbin, Bregman, Alonso, Flaherty, Santander, Teoscar. And then if you want to get into Tanner Scott, Profar, Glaber to me is very interesting. I am interested to see where Glaber goes because I think he's been kind of tossed aside, and I think he
Hmm.
provides more value than he's given credit for. So he's to me an interesting signing for someone. He's going to go somewhere weird and won't matter. I think the
Yeah.
last time we talked, I had him going to the Rockies again, somewhere weird that doesn't matter, where he'll put up a ton of numbers. But other than that, the other international, I'll call him because I'm not exactly sure where. I think it's Korea. Hai Sung Kim, as well as Ha Sung Kim, who's been in the league. So just still guys out there. Justin Verlander hasn't signed anywhere, or has he? Did I miss him? Did he sign somewhere?
No, I don't think he has.
So guys everywhere. are
I'm
available.
looking up Boris guys because I was curious. So Alonso's Boris, Bregman is Boris, um, Profar is Boris.
Ugh.
Yeah, yeah, all
Guy's gonna
those
get like
guys.
25 million a year or something, or
um,
7.
it's so funny. I don't see. I could have sworn Burns was Boris, but it doesn't look like he is.
He's just gonna hold out and get a ton
Yep,
of money.
Snell, but we know Snell's already has a landing
Yeah,
spot. So yeah,
so
yeah,
we'll see,
we'll
but
see.
that's it. I don't want us to go back into speculating because we'll just report it and react to it. I think is the best way to go with these guys at
Yeah,
this
I
point.
agree.
Uh, Anything else that we're missing? Is there anything else we want to talk about? I do want to talk about what we're going to do next episode, but let's hash this out first.
No, nothing else I can think of, buddy.
So we are, what the hell is today's date? This is Monday the 23rd. I don't know if you told anybody
I
that,
did not tell everybody, so
so what
sorry.
a hell of a way to do that. This is Monday, December 23rd. So you're going to be
Merry
listening to this
Christmas,
on Christmas
everybody.
Eve. Yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. So this is going to be the last episode for the year. We'll bring in the new year with this episode. So our next episode will release on January 7th. We'll record the day before. So that episode, barring a ton of signings going on, is going to be one of our favorites, and it's Hall of Fame ballot
Let's
season. So
go.
the ballots will be finalized on the 21st,
About to say the end of
which is a
January, right?
Tuesday. So,
Yep.
with us doing every other week, we didn't want to do it right before. I didn't think that gave it any credence. So we're gonna let it all stew in. We'll be posting more about that because I want to hear some people's thoughts, opinions. I've already seen some shitty ballots that I'm upset about, but I've been withholding. I've been withholding my.
Cannot wait.
Yeah, I am. There's been one specifically. I'm very upset about it. But anyway, so it's that time of the year. I think I'm gonna get to work in the DMs and try to find somebody to talk about their ballot with us because I'm interested. I want to know what goes through their head. Like, how long
We
does
should
it
do a
take?
ballot ourselves too, by the way, and
We
like
always
post
do.
it out. Let's do it. I can't
Well,
wait.
we did one last year. I don't think we posted it out, but
We
we'll
didn't
make
post
sure
it
we
out.
post it.
We're gonna make sure to get on the social
So
network game this year.
and I know we're going to talk about this into the next episode, but I just want to lay the groundwork for it. If I say right now, hey, in 20 minutes we're going to talk about the Hall of Fame episode. How long will it take you to pick your guys?
Uh, I would. I mean, probably 5 minutes.
Okay, I
Yeah.
want to know how long it takes someone who's bestowed a vote has been bestowed upon them. Do they think through it like us? Like, okay, check.
Yeah.
Or is it
Yes.
like,
Yes. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
are they
Yeah.
just counting the ten? Like, oh shit, I
All
gotta
right. So
scribble that one
here's the
out.
deal. If I had the honor of voting for the Hall of Fame, I would do more research. Probably. Like, right? Okay.
Would you say probably? Go ahead.
Probably. You know what I would go like definitely not, but I would go back and check my work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would do feelings, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And I would go back and go, look at all the no's. I was correct. Ooh, that guy was actually way better than I thought. Like and vice versa. That's probably how I would go about it, but I am interested in
I think you'd be
what the
more
frame.
careful if that makes sense.
I
I would
completely
agree
agree.
with that. You'd be more
Completely agree.
careful to not overlook someone and be like, oh, I like this guy.
Hmm.
Just,
I
I'm
think
not even gonna give
I'm
an
on the East
example.
Coast. I didn't get to watch someone on the West Coast very much. That kind of
Yeah,
thing. Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So but I don't know even where I need to start. I have an idea, but we'll see if I can find somebody just to come on for a couple minutes, and
I love
if
it.
they're
I
willing
love
to
that
talk
idea.
about their ballot, great. But if not, I just want to know what they're looking for. If what changes year to year have the and so there is a guy I've
How
shouted
do
him
we
out last
petition
year.
for one of those, by the way?
Buddy, I don't think that's ever gonna happen. Ever. So don't let's
Hey
not get
guys, you
too
want to
far.
give this like random, really small podcast a Hall of Fame ballot?
I think you actually have to be a part of the Writers Association.
That's fair. Okay, I'll look
It's
into
the
it.
BBWA. Yeah, yeah. Figure that part out.
All right.
So I don't even know where I was going with that.
Yeah, my bad. I distracted you.
Yeah, you fucked me.
It's okay.
Uh,
You were gonna ramble anyway, so let's.
I was. I felt like it was a good point. But yes, I am. If any BBWA people who have a Hall of Fame vote are listening to this at this point, reach out to me. I'd love to know. If you're will. Oh, what I was gonna say is Twitter account at not Mr. Tibbs, Tibbs. I think he does a lot more on Blue Sky now, but he tracks all public Hall of
Oh,
Fame
I remember that
ballots.
guy. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So it's his time of the year to shine. Him and his team, they do a very good job. I tried taking a look last week, but just not a lot have been sent in. But we'll give a progress report. I'll try and read it live while we're podcasting, so we have a general idea
Love that.
of where we're at, because he does a good job of breaking down how many votes a guy would need to get there. So just interested to see just the process. I'd like to get more involved in the process, what that looks like. But we will have our Hall of Fame episode, our official ballots, which maybe, you know what? Maybe it'd be like a letter to Santa. Maybe we just fill them out, sign them, stamp them, and send them to the Hall of Fame or whoever I don't know. We'll
Oh
figure
yeah,
it out.
see who gets it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
sign
send
them
them to
and send them
Cooperstown, see if
somewhere.
they get it.
Yeah, like make sure they're official and just send them and be like, these are our official votes.
I love that. Actually, that's a great idea.
We'll
I
see
will
if we-
find. I will find out what their address is, and we'll mail it to them. I am not
It's
afraid.
the Hall of Fame. It's a pretty public place. Been there.
Let's do it.
All right. That'll be hilarious. All right. I'm in. Hopefully that's where they go. I'm sure it's not, but that's where we're going to send them.
Sounds great. I'm all for that, Chris. What a great idea.
All right. So what you got anything else? I think we're good to wrap up. We are attempting to figure out a segment to do most episode. We haven't quite come up with it yet, but we're trying. So if you have any ideas, let us know. We're pretty open to suggestions, but I think we have a pretty good idea of, how to bring a little bit more people, a few more guests in, and utilize, their baseball knowledge for our greater good.
Yep. And thank you so much to everyone that has already come on the podcast and supported us. Thank you guys for listening. Please go to coachessonspodcast.com. You can find all of our streaming links there, whether it's Spotify, Apple, Amazon. Please go to Chinook Seedery, get the best seeds in the game, Coach's Sons Pod at checkout. Go to YouTube. We're on YouTube. We're doing a video today. Because we average like 2
You're
views.
not allowed to clown about the number of views.
Yeah, the number's small, but look, we're trying to get out there. We have a TikTok. Go find us. Go subscribe to us. Share whatever you want that you think is interesting or funny, and just interact with us. And thank you all so much. We look and are very excited about year 2. So, we'll talk to you guys. Have a very Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year. My name is Andrew.
And I'm Chris.
And this is the Coach's Sons Podcast.